How's it going, everyone? It is Prashan and Tucker here, and we're going over some of the top decks this week. So, how's it going, Tucker?
Man, it is an absolutely fantastic week. We always look forward to these Friday videos. But yeah, I'm super excited. Glad to be here. Glad to be representing Powered On here with the boy Prashan. These decks this week, guys, they're going to either take you to Infinite, help you win these weekend missions, or hopefully allow you guys to have some fun.
Yeah, shout out to Power On. We don't want to get fired by STG. We'll have STG pop out somewhere on the screen here. So, what do you think about Phastos here? What do you think? 3/3 on reveal. Give each card in your deck -1 cost or +2 power. What are your thoughts on this card, Tucker?
So it's crazy how bad I was on Makari last week, and then we get Phastos, who like on paper is going to be better than Makari, but like I'm not a huge fan of Phastos. I mean, his ability is cool, but like I feel like you play so many other different 3 cost in this slot, and can get just better value. You just play Red Guardian, and I feel like it's better than playing Phastos. It just feels like you have to play this card on curve, and it kind of just messes up your combo a bit.
Yeah, and it feels bad when you don't have this card on curve or you don't see it at all. Especially if you're building a deck around it and to game plan on it. It's a bad feeling when you don't play this card. I think this might be a card that fits in well with Arishem decks because there's so many cards. But the fact that there's so many cards, you're definitely not going to see this when you have a 24 card deck compared to a 12 card deck. So there might be a place for him in the future, but as of now, I definitely think this card is a skip. So we have some tier lists here, or top of the top when it comes to Marvel Snap, and it's pretty much the same. It's Namora, it is Surfer, and it is Shuri. Those are the top 3 decks when we think about the meta. And let's look at some of these decks. So this is just a surf deck. This is actually one of the best surf decks that's going on right now, and it actually has Phastos in it. And what do you think about this deck here, Tucker?
I think this has Phastos in it because people were just trying stuff. They were net decking Phastos and they put him in here. I think like you just put Nocturne back in here. And you honestly, there's a couple changes I would make. Like I would probably take out Sarah for Mockingbird because I think Mockingbird's the best card in the game right now and has a lot of value with the Broodlings and the Absorbing Man and stuff. But like Surfer is just so good because there's so many different ways you can win with the Surfer, and it has so many different levels of tech to disrupt what your opponent's trying to do, as well as pump out as many cards as possible. Like especially in this list, if you don't even have Sarah, you just play stuff onto Hope Summers and just profit.
Yeah, yeah, I think Surfer is very solid right now. The fact that Hella isn't Hella anymore, you could play
Yep.
Surfer and get away with Surfer compared to before. You couldn't get all of that power on the board the way you used to. So definitely good deck, and I think the reason why it's popping up too in the meta is because people are trying to make Phastos work. They're trying to make Makari work, and then Surfer is the obvious choice for these cards to be in. And another card that's on top of the tier list, let me look for this deck, is Namora, which is pretty surprising when it comes to the game, because I thought Namora was a card that everyone was going to skip on or they weren't that high on. I thought Nocturne was the better card, but Namora decks are definitely popping up. What are your thoughts on Namora?
I think safety made an absolutely amazing list, and I think it's super flexible. It's so many different lines. I think like the Wong list overall was really solid beforehand, and then Namora adds another level to it to allow you to truly pop off more. And like especially with the change to Angela we got yesterday in the OTA, I feel like some people are going to go back on other Ravona lists just with that little change, which is interesting. And like it's very difficult to kind of output the amount of power that you can with this, even with just a White Tiger Odin on a Wong lane. Like it just gets crazy.
Right. And then I actually had safety on the channel to talk about this deck. There's so many ways to play this deck, and you don't have to wait until the final turn to play Ironheart. You can actually try to play her on curve and then use Odin to proc her again on the final turn with Wong on top of the Ironheart. So you could do so many things with this deck. And Echo too is pretty spicy. Like you have Echo in one lane, you force them to play their ongoing in 2 other locations, and then you just snipe them with Rogue. So tons of things you could do with this deck. And I believe it was so good, it was actually the auto deck. So when I made the video with safety everyone was like, "Oh, this is the auto deck with Namora." So luckily, they learned a little bit more about that deck. And then lastly, for one of the top decks that are in Marvel Snap right now, we have Shuri, which isn't going anywhere.
And this list specifically too, this is the auto Shuri list at the moment. With Scar in there, I think Scar's a little flexible. That's the one spot I think in this list. This and the 2 spot with Lizard, I think, are 2 of the more flexible spots in this list. And it's just a feels good card. I mean, if you don't have Scar as well, the rest of these cards are all Series 3. So you can plug in kind of whatever you would like and just be able to just play this list. As long as you have armor down, you can't get Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi's not really all over the place right now. And you have your own enchantress for some of these other just like ongoing lists you may be facing. It just feels good. It's like comfort food. You're literally going to grandma's after school, and you're getting your Red Skull to 28 power, and then your Taskmaster. It's just comforting. You're like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. I know how to play this list. Why not play it again?
This is one of those decks that gets lost over time because we have so much new stuff in Marvel Snap, and everyone wants to play with a new shiny toy. But this is old faithful. I think Shuri is definitely old faithful. When someone comes to me and say that they need a deck to play or reach infinite with, I always say Shuri, because if you don't have your combos, that's when you retreat. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is one of the decks where it's obvious where you need to retreat and where you need to snap. So that's why I think Shuri is up there. So let's go into some of the spicy decks that we picked this week in Marvel Snap that we think that are cream of the crop. So I'm gonna start off here with the KM best deck here. It is pretty interesting, to say the least. Like looking at it, it's like, all right, Pixie, like you don't really get that much Pixie value, but you actually do, and you can in this deck. And then Cersei is pretty good as well. Cersei is the cleanup person at the end, just cleaning up all the messes you made throughout the match, especially with Sentry cleaning up the void, and then you have Mysterios that didn't have value to begin with, and they gain value.
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing about this list is you don't have to have a Nihilus. I think you could put Lady Deathstrike in there potentially too, and pretty much get a very similar vibe. And like even some of these cards, like you draw Mockingbird and she's discounted already, and then you play your Mysterios. So then you have an option to play potentially a cheaper Eliath and stuff. It just feels really good. Cersei, I'm glad people really underrated the card because I feel like not everyone has her at the moment because she is very disgusting. It kind of gives me a Cannonball kind of vibe right now. Maybe not as flexible as Cannonball, but a serious FOMO card for some people who may not have her.
Oh yeah, I think everyone was worried about the RNG that you get with Cersei, which no one should tell me about RNG for a while. But yeah, like it's pretty cool. And then Mockingbird's like one of the best cards in the game. It takes advantage of the Mysterio. It takes advantage of the demon that you get from the hood. And then Nico too. Nico is a Swiss Army knife when it comes to this deck as well, because you could use it on Pixie. You could use basically turn your Pixie into a demon because you won't use Pixie again. Or you could even use Cersei on your Pixie, which is pretty cool too, because Pixie, once you use her once, she's basically done. So very awesome deck. I use this to climb quite a bit. And then of course Red Guardian for some tech. Very cool deck. And then next we have this Lamby move bounce deck.
Yeah, so Bounce got a huge change yesterday. Hercules is absolutely disgusting as a 3 cost, feels way better on curve. And with like the move list too, like the way you're playing it and piloting it around now, all of these cards are super cheap. So you're throwing them down over and over and over and over and over again to get the Hercules interaction. And then you have just some really good feels good cards here. Like Sage. Sage can scale vertically as well, and you can bounce Sage back as well as some of these move cards. And of course, this list makes you think like crazy. If you thought Loki made you think, move having to do all the mental math, this is going here, this is going there. If they play here, it's a lot. I've been trying to play move like the past couple days, and like I've gotten some good gameplay, but like you have to think so hard to play this, which is why it feels good when you do get your wins because you literally scale so vertically. Yeah, it's like
And the crazy thing with Hercules too is like him being a 3 cost, you take advantage of moving cards in there a turn early. him being
Mm-hmm.
a 4 before, it was so awkward. But now your Human Torches, your Iron Fist can bounce into that lane sooner and quicker, and they could scale even faster. So that is pretty cool when it comes to Hercules, and I think it might be a change because we have that those spiders coming snap pretty soon. So
And that's
maybe
gonna be
they're
disgusting.
on to something before it happens. And next we have good old Mill.
Mill is freaking disgusting right now, you guys. I was looking at it pre-infinite. It's got a 56% win rate. Post-infinite is as a 59% win rate right now. And it's just because the lines are so crazy. If your opponent can't play cards, how do they beat you? I mean, you have the counters for if they do draw their cards as well. It feels good. Toxic, definitely. But like it just feels like you can counter a bunch of stuff, and like Magic in this situation too, you're normally going to get your Red Hulk at least to get another proc. So your Red Hulk's not going to be a 6/10 in this matchup. It just feels really good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Yondu, Silver Samurai, Stature, Black Bolt, you're just getting rid of stuff. And then once you get rid of most of their stuff, you could just Doctor Octopus a lane and just take everything from them, what they could have done or tried to do or whatever combos into that lane, and just do whatever you want after. So pretty cool list. And then even if it's something big on the board from Doctor Octopus, you just Shang-Chi it and you're good. So very good Mill list. I think Mill is back. Especially, I don't think it really went away because I think Mill could have countered Hella decks for the most part, as long as they didn't have Hella in their hand.
Yeah, you would have just taken on Gladiator because Gladiator into that matchup stinks. But like, you're totally right. Mill just like people like it's same with Sauron. People are like, I don't want to play this anymore. I want to play the new stuff. I want to play the meta stuff. But like, yeah, I feel like it's back up again because into like the Surfer matchup too. Silver Samurai is really solid. Gladiator's really good, and Zemo stealing some of these combo cards just is a really good feels good moment.
And then especially against Living Tribunal too, you take out those Iron
Mm-hmm.
Mans, those Mystiques, like very, very good, high value. And then next here we have something called the combo. I've been messing around with this. I think I saw Gnome post this on Twitter like a week ago, and it is very challenging to play. It's a lot of moving parts. You have Ghost Spider, Iron Fist, Dagger here. You have Green Goblin. There's times where I play Green Goblin and then I move him with Ghost Spider. And then I play Iron Fist and then I play Dagger. So I put another card on the opponent's side. That way your Dagger gets more power. So it's a lot of cool stuff. And you could do that with Debris too. And then you just clog them. Your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, which is pretty cool because it has a nice move package and it has a nice clog package. So very, very cool deck. And you move their stuff around. Like with the Ghost Spider, Green Goblin, you have the Polaris. Like it's a very, very interesting and fun deck to play.
Yeah, this list is disgusting. It definitely like that whole group, like that Gnome, Stefan, Woody, Husky, like they all came together and made this thing, and it is crazy. Like Rashawn said, like the lines, you definitely need to like play this in like proving grounds or something to learn the lines. It's not something you can just jump into immediately. But there's so many different tech options. Shadow King is so undervalued right now. He is absolutely disgusting. And then you have the Nocturne to turn off a lot of these locations. Like it totally is a feels good deck list for sure.
Definitely high level if you're into high level play and thinking out every single turn. And what else do we have here? I think that is it for this week, right? I think that's it. Anything you want to tell the people out there, Tucker?
Well, I hope you guys have the best RNG this weekend. Not this weekend, but the following weekend, there is going to be a powered on Arishem tournament, which you guys definitely are going to want to check out. A lot of fantastic power on content creators versus some people from my community as well. Going to be on the Power On Twitch channel. We're going to be casting it. It's going to be freaking incredible, but be on the lookout for Arishem because I think it's going to be very fun, and I think you're going to actually kind of want to get Arishem because that extra 1 energy. But of course, next Friday, we'll talk all about that.
Well, you have to have Arishem to play in this tournament, right?
I mean, you have to have Arishem to play in this tournament. I'm just saying, like, next video when we're going over the decks and stuff, we're going to be probably talking about all sorts of weird Arishem decks that are working.
For sure. And then I have a Copper Drop video for Arishem that dropped recently too, if you want to check that out. And I think that's it. So be safe, keep on snapping. Let us know down below what you guys are playing. If you reach infinite, if you're not infinite yet, what you're gonna play to climb. So peace out, guys.